Purple eye in the canyon.
Fan for a long time.
Oh man,
I'm OG.
yeah,
OG fan.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Grew up listening to it. That makes me feel old.
Why?
I don't know. Because I am old, I guess.
Well, that doesn't mean that you could have technically been my same age.
Oh, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just were putting stuff out.
Yeah.
And I wasn't.
Yeah.
I started so late. I didn't put out my first record till I was 27, something like that.
Yeah. I was later than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was 30.
Oh, you were old then, huh?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, I really was. Yeah, I was 30. I had a whole other life in my 20s and then started doing this when I turned 30.
How did I miss that? Well, that's inspiring for me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like you feel like an oddball sometimes if you started a little later.
Yeah, I did.
Like I find it fascinating how good some super young people are. Like it blows my mind.
Yeah, I know, it's unbelievable. Yeah, I did a show the other night with this guy. He's in his mid-20s, and he played some song. He's like, "This is one of the first songs I wrote," and it was amazing. I'm like, "Oh my god, man! I didn't write a good song till I was late 20s."
Yeah, and then just their ability to play and how they sing is like
Yeah,
crazy to me.
yeah. I don't have that.
Well, it feels like I'm still trying to figure it out
Yeah.
in ways.
Right.
Like I'll just play sometimes, and I'm like, God, you're just not that good.
Yeah.
And then some of these kids are just
Yeah. I wish I had that. Sometimes I think I kind of had to learn how to do it. You know what I mean? I think I have a little bit of a natural thing, but I've seen, doing this long enough, you're around people that actually have like the full natural, like it just pours out of their being. You
Do
know
you
what
really
I mean?
buy that? Like, do you really think they just like naturally had it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
I've seen it. Well, Courtney Patton, we lived together for a long time. We're married for a long time, and she's like that. I mean, it's just effortless. Not that she doesn't put in effort, but she things that I have to work at, she just does naturally.
Do you think that sometimes that's not specifically for her, but for some people that's like a hindrance because it comes so easily?
I mean, it could be if they let it. She doesn't.
Sure.
The good ones don't. They still work at it. But yeah, I could see how. I have known some people like that too in the past and they're not doing it anymore.
Do people tell you? So you're saying you personally don't feel like it came super naturally to you?
No, I think I had to learn how to do it.
Do people tell you, man, what a talent? It's just incredible that you're so natural with it.
Yeah, but but I don't think they don't know they didn't see the work it took to get there.
Does it kind of bug you if people say that?
Nah, I don't. It's fine. I mean, that's a positive, right? If it looks natural, that means I've done the job right.
Totally.
Yeah. But no, I definitely had to learn it. I mean, I had to work at it. The writing part does come natural. I think that's if I have a natural ability, it's writing. I've just always kind of done that, but in writing in whatever form, not just songwriting, but musically, I kind of had to learn music because I always loved music, and I would be playing music. No matter, I played music even before I was playing music, for a living, and I've been playing music since I was 13, and I love it, but I started making records and stuff because I was writing these songs and I didn't have the patience to try to pitch the songs and hope somebody would record them. It's like, I just want to get these things out there. And then I kind of learned as I went. And to me, when I go back to like my first records, I hear it big time. I hear just how far I've come in 20 years, just learning how to do things.
Do you feel like lyrically, the way you put something together has come further, or musically?
Musically is what I'm talking about, but lyrically too.
Yeah. But the writing component came pretty naturally to you, writing lyrics at least.
Yeah, it came natural. And even musically, like writing, I'm talking about the performing side. Like learning how to sing.
Oh yeah.
Learning how to perform and all of that stuff. Is what I had to work at. I kind of got the whole writing songs and putting melodies and that kind of thing if anything came quick and easy, it was that. But on the performing side, I had some learning to do.
I started, I guess, co-writing over the last couple years, I guess more in like a more professional sense of like going in and co-writing with people.
Yeah.
I've started to do that more because I always wanted to just be a songwriter. That's like the performance element of it, I didn't actually love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Same.
I don't think it's still not my favorite part of it. But anyways, I've discovered there's still a performative part of songwriting, especially in co-writing, that I also don't like, where when you're sitting down with somebody, how you present an idea to them and how into it you are. Also, like if it's a melody idea or a chordal thing or whatever, how you sing it, how you perform it for them will dictate how much they like it,
Yeah, that's true.
which kind of is bullshit
Yeah.
to a degree.
Sure.
And I've noticed it in some sessions recently. If you're writing with people that maybe are really good singers,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the whole session, they are singing like full voice. Like, you're just noodling around trying to figure, and they are singing. And like if
Yeah.
there's more than 2 people in the session, they'll be like, God, you're so good. That whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, are we kind of like, yeah, they sing good, but what they sang is trash. Like, can we not like work through this a little bit more? But there starts to be a performative element to the creative process.
Sure. Yeah.
That I don't love.
Yeah.
It's like it takes away some of the.
I agree. I kind of got around that, but I don't co-write with strangers anymore.
Okay.
I just write with people. I just write with friends now. I still love co-writing, but I want to write with somebody that we've hung out, and we're friends, and I know their style, and I know how they're going to go, and there's no judgment.
Yes.
I don't want to walk into a room and because I know for me, the times I've tried to sit down with a stranger and write, you're right. You're not only writing, like you're kind of trying to prove yourself a little bit.
Hate it,
You know what I
dude.
mean? I hate that. Yeah.
But then there's some people that like they're strangers, but for whatever reason they have a similar, maybe, idea of how to do it, and you don't feel like you have to perform for them.
Yeah, I
And
never
that's
found
nice.
that. That would be nice.
You've never had that.
I've never had that with a stranger. I mean,
Whoa.
no. I mean, with the friends that I write with,
Yeah.
it's extremely laid back and easy. That's why I do it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I've never writing with just somebody I've never met, sitting down and writing. I've never had that go well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not crazy for that seeming kind of awkward for me.
Yeah, no, not at all. Everybody has different takes on that, Like Adam Hood he's one of my best friends, and man, he's the opposite. He is just a monster when it comes to co-writing. I mean, he's just figured that out, and he can sit down with anybody, and he'll listen to you, and he's just quick and fast, and it's good. It's not just quick and fast to get it done. Like it's like when he and I write together, I'm a very slow, deliberate writer.
Okay.
In fact, I start every song with the intention of finishing it myself. So if I'm ever co-writing, it's because I've gotten stuck and I'm taking it to somebody to help me finish it, or vice versa, or they're bringing something to me. But yeah, so when I'm writing with Adam, I like to think and take my time. And so we'll sit down and I'll have this song kind of verse, chorus, or whatever framed out, and I'll go, okay, and I'm working on a line in the next verse, and I'm, sitting there, we're both kind of not talking for a second, and we're just working, and then he goes, what about this? And I've got this one line, and he goes, and he plays a whole verse. Like he's written a whole verse in the time
Just like that.
it took me to write a line, he's just so good at it. I'm very jealous of that gift, but
I wonder
definitely
what
don't have
creates that.
yeah, I have no idea. Maybe practice. He's been doing it a long time.
Yeah. I definitely think there's a practice element to it. I find the whole process to be fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't, it doesn't feel like even creativity to me. It doesn't feel like I'm actually ever creating anything. It just feels like there's potentially infinite options, but you're just kind of discovering what you think in that moment might be the best option, but you're not really like creating.
You mean in co-writing or just in general?
In general.
Yeah.
The only thing that feels like more of creation, and this might be a weird take, but where it truly feels like infinite options. And if you choose option A, all of the infinite options after that change.
Yeah.
Like if you chose B, it would be a separate infinite options, which
Yeah.
is kind of weird to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
But mixing feels like that to me.
Yeah.
Like you make one little choice, like one little EQ thing here is like, but then that dictates like all these other. So like you could go in and like mix a song, or maybe even like cut a song, and then you could go in and try to duplicate it the exact same way a second
Yeah.
time, but it won't turn out the same way.
Yeah, I know, man. I mean, that's life though, isn't it? I mean, in
Oh, yeah.
general, just every choice you make kind of disregards all these other, like takes away all these other choices. I don't know. Um, you kind of just have to pick one, and go with it. I think that's one lesson I've learned. Somebody told me about making records, the mixing process and things like that. They're like, um, it's you gotta it's never done. You just have to stop. You can just go on forever and ever. And I think that's true even down to the choices, each choice that you make. You can drive yourself crazy over this EQ or that EQ or this line versus that line. But at some point you just gotta kind of
So,
jump
did you
in.
struggle with the idea of like making choices?
At first I did. Yeah. If there's anything I've learned in my 20 years of doing this, I think, and I was going to say this too on the performing side, because I actually love performing now, but it's because of this principle of, I just kind of had to learn to let go and learn it first, learn how to do the thing I was trying to do, whether that's making records or refining the writing or performing or whatever, learn the craft of it and then let go and then just kind of trust that I know how to do it now, and let the process go. Because once I did that, I've enjoyed it a lot more and I'm more confident in it. I think the records sound better. I think the shows are better. I'm an overthinker. I
Yeah.
can definitely think things to death, and so I had to really kind of learn how to just trust that I know what I'm doing now. And it took a long time to get there, but
Well, what do you
just
think like was the main cause for you sort of getting around that and just accepting the choices you
well,
make? And
part of it was just driving me crazy. I hit a wall probably about 12, 13 years in where really wasn't enjoying it anymore, And that same principle was true not just with like performing and writing, but even as far as my career goes. I was trying to be something. I was trying to craft this, kind of what is it to be successful? How do I be successful? And just kind of trying to do things, And again, once I just kind of said, I can't keep going like this. It was making me not like music anymore. And
whoa.
so I had to just kind of decide, do I want to do this the rest of my life or not? And if I do, I've got to learn how to just let go and enjoy it.
Was it driving you crazy because the way you were trying to orchestrate it and the results you were wanting to get weren't happening?
Partly, yeah, and partly it was making me do things I didn't really want to do.
Okay.
Playing venues I didn't really want to play, um, playing the shows I was playing weren't the shows I was wanting to be playing. Just trying to appeal to more of a mass audience. And
Do you think if you would have gotten the results that you wanted, would that have been good for
I
you?
don't think so. No, I think, I look at that. It's that unanswered prayers
Yeah,
thing, man. I
totally.
mean, it's so true. I think, at the end of the day, I think it usually turns out like it's supposed to, but I mean, I have friends that have reached that level, that just blew up and I see their life and what they do day to day. And, and they're incredible at it. I would not be. I just don't have that. Whatever personality they have that like lets them just be on all the time and kind of live that life. I don't have it. So yeah, I think I would be if I got in that. If I had the things I thought I was wanting. Yeah, I think I'd have been really uncomfortable in it.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah,
Yeah, be careful. Yeah, that is
yeah,
totally the unanswered prayers.
yeah. It's true.
Yeah, well, and like what a some of those people you're describing where they're like always on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's tough in like your personal side of your life. If you're just always on,
Yeah,
so you can't ever turn it off.
yeah,
That can become debilitating in its
yeah.
own way.
Yeah, I'll tell a story. I'll just tell. I went and had lunch a couple years ago with Cody Jinks. We met out on the road. We were in Pittsburgh. We were both there. Same time, I had a day off, and he had a show there, and I hadn't seen him on the road in years, and so I went out and I hadn't really hung out with him since he kind of leveled up, And we went to lunch, and we got in this car, and there were people just watching from up on the bluffs above. This is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we go to lunch. It's this place downtown, and this caravan of people followed, and we're at the bar and we're trying to talk. And every time he takes a bite, it's just somebody's tapping him on the shoulder, wanting to take a picture, and man, he was like, I've never seen somebody be so gracious and handle that he was like, he treated every single person. I need my private space a little more.
Wow.
I don't know if I could, not that I don't love the fans, but at some point if I'm eating lunch, sometimes I just need to eat lunch. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But he's so good at it. Like I don't know. He's just got that thing.
Golden cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some guys I've been around that you see them interact with like a fan or something, and like what they say after that interaction, like just with you, is very telling about like who they
Yeah.
are as a person.
I've seen that too.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Cody's he's not like that.
Exactly.
He actually, that's why people love him, right?
Yeah,
Because he's genuine. But I have seen that
But it's
side of it.
inspiring when like, they're like you're walking with them and then they get hit by somebody and they take pictures and talk to them, and real sincere with them and everything. And then they walk off and then they just start talking about whatever you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Like they don't even, and then there's other people that'll be like, man, can you believe that? What, they like make fun of them or something.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, those are two different, distinctly different
I think
people.
that comes through over time. I
Yeah.
think the people that are the second one, I don't think they last, or if they do, it comes out somehow.
Especially nowadays.
Right.
Can't hide anything.
Yeah.
I don't think.
No, I don't either.
I've met some characters. I'm sure you have. It's a tough one. It comes with the territory, the disingenuousness.
Yeah.
It's the showbiz part of it.
Yeah. I won't name those names.
Yeah.
I'll talk about somebody that's gracious all day long,
Sure.
because I want people to know that they're the real deal. But yeah, there's plenty of the other too.
I think it ends up coming through in the art too, though. Because if you're only doing this for attention, it's going to start showing up in your art. Like even if
Sure.
maybe you have some hitters and you got some good stuff, I think over the long run, if you're just doing it to chase some sort of like just attention seeking behavior.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, but that's part of like entertainment and show business.
Sure.
You know? You just want the result, not the actual work that goes into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think especially if you're going to be a lifer, if you're going to do it for life, you really have to learn. You have to find this love of it. You have to find a love for the people you're playing for, the people you're writing for. It has to be way more than just about yourself and what you've accomplished, because you'll burn out quick.
Yeah, I've noticed that definitely with people that maybe started like a little bit later in their life.
Mm-hmm.
I think they probably were forced to develop maybe more of a love for the process than maybe somebody that just like caught a little bit of fire when they were real young.
Yeah.
Maybe didn't get to explore some other things in life.
Yeah.
But like you, you like venture over there when you're 30. That was probably a pretty definitive choice in your life. Like, I'm going to really go after this thing.
Yeah.
But also because it was like eating at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you're right. I tried to not do it and I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? I really did. Like, I actively, because I did
I know, it's when like I was curse.
Right.
It's the worst. Dude.
Yeah, I know. When I was like 17 to 19, I really thought I not quit. I graduated high school a year early just to go do this. Started going to Nashville, and I wanted to do it right out of the gate, and I realized that path was not for me really, really quick, so I kind of got out of it. And like I said, I tried for 10 years to not do it. And it just ate me up. It's just really hard. I just had to. I don't know. There's certain things I think you just have to.
But as a writer, I think because you went and experienced some other things, it probably opened up your mind to the writing component more than maybe somebody that's always been in the industry or something.
Yeah, for sure. Live life. I had a daughter. I'd been married for 10 years at that point, and I'd seen the world. I was in the Air Force during that time, so I'd lived overseas and been around all kinds of different cultures and lived in several places around the country and had roommates from New England, and just stuff that I never would have had straight out of high school in Mississippi at 18 years old, So on the writing side, I do wonder. You said that about people that have it later in life. I worry a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't, but there's kids now. I've seen it. Especially in the last year. There's kids that are
wild.
17 and they have one TikTok hit, and then they're selling out. They're selling out Billy Bob's like right out of the gate.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, man. I mean, good luck to him, and I wish him all the best. But man, I wonder how that's gonna go.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
really not rooted. I thank God I can't imagine being in this industry and having like that overwhelmingly like jealous thing.
Yeah.
Like that, I got a lot of issues, but like fortunately, jealousy is like not one that I
Yeah.
actively struggle with. Like, sure, we all get in little moments, but yeah, like when I look at some of these younger, like super young people, and I'm not even trying to sit here and act like I'm some freaking vet of the industry. Like I just put out my first record in 2019, so like,
Yeah.
it's not. But you'd still do like it's been a grind for me. And just
Mhm.
like the idea of like putting a band together and being on the road and putting out records and
Yeah.
doing the promo and like playing hungover, playing sick, like writing your own songs, producing your own songs, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And like that is all like adversity and learning perseverance and then learning who you are and digging deeper into who you are and
Yeah.
finding like all of that, like just that interwoven connective tissue and like all that scar tissue that's created. And so some of the young cats like just haven't gotten to experience that.
Yeah.
It's not like that's a good thing to experience those things.
Yeah, for sure.
And like now what do they, so like it's not out of jealousy. I'm like almost like kind of scared for them.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly what I think too.
Yeah.
It's definitely not jealousy. It's I'm happy for them.
Yeah, it's incredible.
More power to them, and they cracked the code. You know what I mean? I mean that's what I wanted to have happen to me. So I'm not. I don't have that jealousy thing either, but I do worry. I worry about them a little bit. You know, and there's also part of that struggle. That's such an old man thing to say. You know, these kids these days didn't have to struggle. You know, but it's part of the struggle is you learn who you are artistically and creatively. You know, and some of these kids part of the reason that it's popping as fast as it's popping is they're kind of riding to this trend that's going on. You know, this certain sound that's going on, and they've captured it, and they've blown up. But what happens when that trend's not the thing anymore? You know, have they developed their actual art? Do they know who
or do you
they
just
are
go on copying the next trend?
Right. You just keep chasing the trend, or you know, when do you actually stop and go, you know, who am I as an artist?
Yeah, I hate to sound, I guess like an old man or something, where it's like, well, everything sounds the same, and because every genre and every type of music is derivative to a certain degree.
Sure,
like there's only so much shit we can all put together. But yeah, it's like when you hear some stuff, you're like, wow, that is literally a carbon copy.
But it works. That's a little bit of that's kind of frustrating. You know, it does work. You watch it happen. I mean, you can, like, when those trends when they're in full swing, you know, there's always like the pioneer. There's the guy that did it. And then there's just a million people that are just copying it, and they're successful too. You know, it doesn't matter. But
hasn't that always existed to a certain degree?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think about it like grunge in the '90s.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Everybody was.
Yeah, there was the couple, the few.
Yeah,
and then there was 50. You know,
then all the labels sign anybody that just sounds like Nirvana.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it happened with pop punk. Yeah, it happens with every phase of country music. Country music is just finally having like it's like day in the sun to a certain degree, like in like a massive popular sense.
Yeah,
I mean, I say finally. It happened in the 90s to a certain degree.
Yeah,
but I mean, you'd have a better perspective on this than me. But I feel like, I mean, the 70s and 80s and even the 90s, like country was a big genre, but compared to like pop and rock and stuff, it wasn't at that level.
Yeah, right. Not at all.
And it is now.
Yeah,
I mean, it is the popular genre.
Yeah, it's also pop music, which is which has helped that.
Can I? Okay, let me ask you this though, because I always joke like when people say, I mean, that ain't real country, or like, oh, it's just pop music, that's that pop stuff. Like, I personally think we're all writing pop songs.
Yeah.
Structurally.
Oh, sure.
Like, get to a chorus relatively quick. Like, have some sort of like hook that like you write towards.
Yeah, we're not writing Bob Dylan songs.
No, for the most part.
Right.
But yeah, even then, you know, some of those songs, some Bob Dylan songs are super pop songs.
Sure. Yeah.
Big time pop songs.
Yeah.
It's just how he sang them wasn't necessarily popular.
Yeah.
But to me, that's like the dirty little secret.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's, you have to do that to an extent, right? I mean, that's also, I think about that. People talk about originality, and, original is go write a song that's 4 minutes and has no chorus and, doesn't rhyme. Like that's original. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nobody wants to hear
But
it.
nobody wants to hear that, Yeah, I don't know. I've definitely abandoned the whole real country thing. I don't love that anymore. I made a whole record about it, and I stand by the record. I had one song that was kind of like the anthem of that, and I don't regret it, but I've backed. I mean, music changes. It really does. I mean, Willie and Waylon were considered not country when they were doing their thing by the Ernest Tubb fans. You know what I mean? Like that thing. It goes on and on.
Isn't that so funny? And now there's like some tribal leader for Willie Nelson, like barking at somebody else, telling them they're not country. He's like, well, your only real country is Willie Nelson. I'm like, well,
yeah, he was considered. And he actually wasn't that country if you think about it. Like he's kind of jazz.
A little crooner.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of
crooner
when he
jazz.
started, wasn't he?
Stardust.
When he was clean cut crooner.
Oh yeah. I mean, he made Stardust with, was it Booker T?
Yeah.
Just like, so that stuff's been going on forever. I can say that there's a type of country music that I prefer.
Yeah.
That I definitely would love to hear more of, and that is definitely making a comeback right now. And I'm very excited about it. Just hearing some of these guys, Zach Top and Jake Worthington and Randall King, and those guys that are really doing that hardcore. There's a ton of them, and they've been doing it forever too. They're not chasing anything. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah,
and it's just
for sure have.
It's just the
came
wheels turning around.
Yeah. That I love.
Yeah, I love it too. But on the other side, I just
I just had a kid at a private event the other night. A little frat kid, about 19, came up and gave me a speech on what real country was, because I wasn't playing like. He wanted me to play Zach Top or something. I was like, I don't know any Zach Top. And he's like, well, he's a badass. And I'm like, yeah, I love him. Yeah. I'm doing my own thing, but yeah, I love it. And he's like, well, this is the real. And I'm like, listen here, little frat boy. Like, I don't need to hear. So it's like, as much as I want to be like, everybody do their own thing. I still got that little part of me that's like, I'll tell you, buddy.
But there is some stuff that's called country that just isn't country. I mean, it's indistinguishable from what's on the pop station.
Agreed.
And that's objectively not country. You know what I mean? I mean, they just kind of made the record in Nashville and put a banjo on it or whatever. Like that's, you know what I mean? I mean, that's not like to me, country. In order to be called country, you'd at least have to be able to pull the thread and kind of find where it leads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they just went and like just cut the thread and just jumped over here, you can't call it the same genre.
Yeah, to be totally honest, it's a lot like the gender thing. Like, okay, you guys can like, I'll call you what you want me to call you. Like, that's fine. Like, if you say like, call me Catherine, but you're a dude, like, I don't care. Okay, I'll call you Catherine. That's fine. But like, objectively, you're a dude. Like in my world, right?
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, man, dude, I'll let it rip. I don't care at all. Not even a little bit. I don't have a lot to lose. You're smarter than me. But like the country music thing is kind of the same way. It's like, okay, like if you're in the studio and you're telling this drummer like, oh, like I'm looking for this like Motown-y thing on the drums, like that means a certain thing musically, objectively. Yeah. Like he wouldn't just start playing a trap beat and be like, well, this is real Motown. I'm like, no, it's not. That's not objectively.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's that side of it. Like words matter. They mean a certain thing. But then beyond that, at the same time, it's like the amount of influences and references that come in when you're writing and when you're making music, for me, come from a lot of different places. And then at the end, yeah, it might sound more country, but ironically, you were like sort of referencing this like old Police song or something deep down, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, merging genres, that's been going on forever too, right? I mean, that's what Willie and Waylon did. I went and stopped at Bill Monroe's birthplace in Kentucky, and one of the ladies there gave us a tour. Jamie Lynn Wilson and I stopped in. We were on a run together, and we just decided to stop. I'd never stopped. And this lady was giving us a little tour around the place, and she said, he just had this idea to merge. It was like jazz and Celtic music, and it was, I forget what it was, 2 or 3 of them. And it just like, even back then, there's no such thing as bluegrass. He was taking a piece of this and a piece of this and putting it all together and creating something. So that's just been going on forever. And That's music, you know. That's how music moves forward, I think. But when you just full on, you're like, I want to sell a bunch of country records, so I'm going to make a pop record and call it country.
Yeah. It's pandering.
Yeah, it's just you're just trying to do it to sell records. You know what I mean? There's no art in that.
Okay. Okay. To push back a little bit, I think that there's still pandering that happens, even if it like sounds exact. Like there's a part of it where you can check all the boxes of the genre, and it's like this is real country, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you just jam packed fiddle and steel and all these country instruments into this one song, and it kind of sounds like trash. And it just sounds super generic
Yeah.
because you just checked all the boxes. And
Sure.
it's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
country, but
Yeah.
like I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
It's like uninspiring.
What's the quote? It's something like, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to describe it, but I know it when I hear it. You know, I think that's
It's either good or it's not.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's still all of that. Like people know, you know, especially
Yeah.
like music fans,
Yeah.
you know when you hear something. Now there is an aspect. There's like, to me, if we're getting into this, there's two fan bases too. You know, there's the music fans, and then there's people that just want to turn something on and go boat around the lake. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're not music fans. They just want something to play while they're doing their thing, you
Yeah.
know? And that's whatever they like is what they like. You
Yeah.
can't argue with that. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm talking about more is for like, I come at it from a music fan. Even before I was playing music, I was a fan of music. And that's where I'm coming at it. You know, if you're just making a pop song for people that want to just go dance on a Friday night and, you know, and don't care about any other thing, they just want it to be fun, and man, more power to them. You know, that's a whole other fan base that I don't know anything about. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, but do you have like a guilty pleasure pop song?
No, I don't know. And
What
I'm
a
so
funny question to ask Jason Eady.
I'm so disconnected from that. No, I don't. I No, I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even
Oh.
like. I wouldn't even know.
Well, okay,
I would-
take out the word pop. What's like a song that you just really like that you would kind of be a little bit embarrassed
Oh
for
God,
people
there's
to
a million
know?
of those. Yeah,
Like you're like,
There's-
this is a freaking jam, but you one couldn't ever see yourself writing it, two couldn't ever see yourself performing it,
yeah.
and three you're kind of maybe a little embarrassed if people knew that you liked it.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Yes, there's a lot of those. Pop songs is what threw me because I don't know, and I'm so disconnected from that
Okay,
world.
yeah.
I wouldn't know. The last thing I think of as a pop song was probably, you know, like mid 2000s Christina Aguilera. That's like, you know, that what's that Candyman song she had?
See,
That's a
Okay.
good song.
Here we go. Yeah.
But that's so old. I mean, I hate to even say that because it's now it's like that's almost 20 years old, that song. Oh, God,
dude,
that's
that
so
just
hard to hear.
made my year. It's early in the year, but that's still
Yeah.
a big deal.
That's a good song.
What
It's a
was the
good
song?
song.
You was pop candy, or what'd you call it? Sugar candy?
That one I just said.
Yeah.
It's called Candyman.
Oh,
Oh
by
my
Christina
God, I can't believe I
Aguilera.
was saying this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
It's a
dude.
good song.
I know. See,
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I actually think it's a good song, but yeah, it's also very, you know, it is what it is.
yeah, but see, it's like
Yeah.
there's some of that stuff that exists. Not, I don't know. Not every song has to like try to emotionally
For
change the
sure,
world.
yeah. And I try to do that too. I try to like my last record especially, I did this album called Mississippi, and the whole point was to kind of recreate, kind of pay tribute to the like more of a blues sound that I grew up on in Mississippi, more of like a groove based thing.
Okay.
And I had to really shift because I intentionally tried to not make the lyrics front and center. You know, I had to kind of
Oh.
really let go of that and just write songs that felt good. You know, and like
How was that? How'd that feel?
it was very freeing and liberating. Yeah. So
You're
I
like,
mean,
I'm caged in
yeah.
by the.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a stickler for. I don't think every song has to be this profound. Like, you know, some songs are just fun, and they're
Yeah.
and I try to write those too. You know, I don't expect nobody wants to sit around and listen to that all the time. You know, it's just too much to listen to that heavy stuff and try to dissect every song and get something out. I mean, you can't. I don't even think you can make an album like that. You know, by the end of it, people are just worn out.
Yeah, I don't
You
want to
know.
hear that.
Yeah, yeah. So it doesn't have to be.
I don't want
that.
to play that.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah. Like, yeah, I want to be able to just kind of go, okay, enough of that. Let's do this. But yeah, I wrote it, and it was a fun record to write because I could just kind of let go and not have to have a narrative in a song, not have to have some bigger point. It could just be, this feels good, sounds good.
So did it allow you to focus more on groove, melody,
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe
which was
even the way
fun.
you sang?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it was fun. I'll tell you a secret, talking about pop music and stuff that people might not know.
Yeah, dude. Hey, don't tell anyone.
Don't tell
Don't
anybody.
tell
Yeah.
anybody. Just tell me.
uh, when I was writing it, I listened to a lot of hip hop because they're the masters of writing to like writing rhythmically, like their words are rhythmic. You know what I mean? And that's what I was trying to do with this record. That's what groove music is. That's what those guys in Tulsa that were doing it in the 70s, and Mississippi guys, like their words are rhythmic. You could take you Call Me the Breeze
I was
and
just going to bring up JJ Cale.
you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
could take a JJ Cale song
Yeah.
and pull the melody out of it and the words sound good. Like they're
Oh, you mean like, oh yeah. Well,
like
even
there's-
phonetically too.
yeah, phonetically,
Like-
all of it. Like there's a cadence to it. There's just sounds good. The words sound good when they come out. So I was listening to a lot of hip hop, and I kind of do that when I write anyway. But one of the reasons is that it gets me into that kind of rhythmic meter, kind of more meter oriented thing. Another reason I do that is because I'm not going to copy it. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in writing mode and I'm listening to Guy Clark, I'm probably going to steal something without realizing that I'm
Oh.
stealing it.
But
You know
see,
what I mean?
that's so far outside of
Yeah.
your.
And even if I did
you
steal
try,
it,
it's just
it's going to change so much by the time it gets in the song.
Yeah.
It
It would just turn into Grundy County Auction.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's Jason Eady trying to copy hip hop.
Uh-huh.
Dude, that's a meme. It's just his face. It's
Uh-huh.
like, what do you get? Jason Eady trying to copy hip hop, Grundy County Auction.
Yeah, I mean, I love those really good hip hop writers they're fantastic.
Man,
they're great
and
writers.
the words that they use. I kind of have a similar thing. Like I write a lot to melody. Like I try not to get like super wrapped up. If I have an idea for a song, like a hook that I'm writing towards and stuff, like yeah, okay, like I can like make sure to write towards that. And like sometimes it feels like I'm forcing it a little bit, and like I have to work the melody in to like make sure that those lyrics can work with it. For the most part, I just sit there and sing, and like it feels like most of the time the words just start to come out
Yeah, for sure.
of
Yeah.
what that melody sounds like and the phonetics of it.
Mhm.
And I've found that I start using more interesting words if I just allow like the vowels to just kind
Yeah.
of come out of how I'm singing it. And then it's like right into that. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay. Then you start your phrases not using I and you and me.
Yeah.
You start with cooler words, and then it opens up the rhyme scheme. And I
Yeah.
find that like a lot of hip hop people, that's like how they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
As much as I kind of don't love that genre, like it's not something I actively listen to. There's a lot of elements of it that like I really appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't actively listen to it a lot, but I use it for a purpose, I use it for a writing tool for
Yeah.
sure. But uh-oh.
Booger will get it.
What was I was thinking something you just said.
Like right into the phonetics.
Oh, yeah. So I actually call that, I do exactly that. I call it mumble writing.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of
Okay.
start off, and if anybody saw me, it would just be the most embarrassing thing, but it's just kind of, you're just making grunts and noises, to a melody and a feel. And then this one line will pop out, and that's usually how a song starts. So my process is like, I'm always gathering, always writing. People ask if I write all the time, and I do not, but I am always gathering, just writing a line here, an idea there. And I've got this notebook for that. But when I sit down to write, I don't go through the notebook and go, I'm going to write this song now. I just sit down and start doing that. It's just this kind of mumbly.
So would you
thing.
say like accumulating the lyrics and stuff, the ideas you write down is almost more like, is it kind of just like your mind practicing the process and like working out some of the ideas so that when you're in the moment, like maybe those ideas will come up in a more appropriate
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's something to go back to.
Yeah.
So like once I get the song going, if it doesn't, sometimes they just write themselves in that moment. But sometimes I'll kind of start on something that way and go, okay, this feels good. This feels like a song. What do I have that can go with this? And then I start going back through all those other things.
Okay.
So I'll use them, but they're not like, I don't sit down and very rarely start from that point. I do think there's a subconscious, whatever. Songs are out there in the ether, and I believe that
You're
100%.
just snatching
You
them.
just snatch them.
It's like,
I
"Ooh,
really
I got
do.
that one.
Yeah, and it's an art and craft thing at the same time. I mean, you're snatching it, and you're letting it come to you, and then you have to know what to do with it. That's the craft part. You have to know. There is a mind part where you go, okay, now I've got this lyric that I wrote down that would fit perfectly in this place, and you go reference it. But I think that the genesis of it has to come from. I think it has to come from out there, whatever that is, in order to be good. And like if I look back on my song, I can listen to a song now and know whether I started it that way or not. All the ones that I think are good and that I still they all started that way. The ones where I sat down, especially the ones earlier in my career where I sat down, I was like, I'm going to write this song. They just, I don't know, they didn't hold up. The fans don't like them.
How many times have you had songs, maybe an idea or something, and you do it and you work on it, and it just never quite resonates? Like you write it, you might write like a verse and chorus, but you kind of got this this guitar thing, and it's just like, this just isn't right. I don't like it. You scrap it. Try to come back to it, like reapproach it a totally different way, scrap it.
Mm-hmm.
How often does that happen where you're doing that and like rewriting it and changing it? I guess a two-parted question. How often do you do you do that very often? And I'm talking like where you change it, like totally reapproach it.
Yeah.
Like try to totally different melody, different groove. Do you do that very often? And how many times has that actually been like fruitful and actually worked? Like you've gone through all that, scrapped it a bunch of times, then you came back and you're like, oh, this is it. I found it finally.
Yeah. The only way that works, I have done it a few times. The only way it works though is there has to be so much time between, if I can't do it in the moment. Like I can't put it down and go, you know what, I'm just going to I can't do it then. It'll just keep morphing back into what I had originally. But if I just leave it in my notebook and maybe 6 months I go back to it where I don't even remember what I did the first time, I can come up with something completely different and it'll work. But I have to completely wipe the slate.
Is there any that you remember that you did that with?
I know there's a song. Oh, there's one on my last record called Misty was like that. I don't even remember how I'd started it, but yeah, I couldn't make it work. And then knew that I was kind of writing for this this Mississippi album, and I wanted it to be more of a groove thing. So I just took it and kind of put this JJKO feel on it, and it just fell into place immediately. But whatever I was doing the first time, it didn't work. I don't remember what it was, but I remember that it didn't work.
I didn't know
I'm sure I've got it.
I didn't know you were a big JJKO guy.
Oh man,
I don't know
favorites.
what person's really not, but
yeah, I think he's talk about pioneer.
Oh gosh,
there's very few pioneers. You know what I mean? There's very few people that like created something.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about people singing too. Like sometimes people being a good singer can make up for a bad song. And, JJKO was not a particularly strong singer, and man, he didn't have.
He wasn't even a great writer. Like those lyrics.
Oh,
there's nothing to him. Hard. I mean, some of them there are Magnolia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like there's some great songs, but he wasn't saying, cocaine. No. I mean, if you want to get down on the ground, cocaine.
No, I really wanted his whole drum machine thing, and he'd do those like loop. They were like super loop based songs.
That's the genius of it. Every individual component of what he did is so elementary. It's so easy. Like anybody could do it, right? But it's the putting together of all those pieces, and then you end up with this unbelievable.
Yeah.
They did create that whole, that Tulsa syncopated. What I mean? Like the guitars are syncopating around this little. Yeah. There's that.
Yeah. God, but it was so greasy.
Yeah.
It really swayed. It syncopated, yes, but it still had a freaking,
Yeah, it
Like a
pushes and
yeah.
like Call Me the Breeze. If you go listen to that,
Oh,
if you put on really good headphones and listen to that song, because you first listen to it, it just sounds like there's a guitar and a drum. There's a few things going on, and it sounds really cool. If you put on like really, really good sensitive headphones and listen to that thing, there's like 4 guitars all doing different things,
uh-huh.
and one of them's just going dun, 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 like the whole
Yep.
song. You know what I mean? And they're all kind of doing that against each other, and it's pretty complex stuff that's going on.
Very. From
to
like a
make it sound
recording
so simple.
standpoint,
Mhm.
absolutely. Oh, yeah. Get me started on that. Like, because it would be the type of recording that a lot of engineers and producers or whatever, if I were to do that in the studio or be trying to do that, they'd be like, oh, kind of overcomplicating it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, well, don't overthink it. It's like, well, I'm just thinking. Can I
Yeah.
think? Better than underthinking. How about?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
I
like,
have to think that he came up with that. I mean, I don't know if that for sure. Maybe it was a producer somewhere that did all that. But he was just his first record. That sound just kind of came out of nowhere,
and then his doubly vocal thing.
They doubled the vocals.
I mean, triple, quadruple them.
Maybe.
And just have that like, but that's the only way you could get his voice thick enough, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, it created that like chantiness to it.
Yeah.
Man, so cool.
So good.
Well, and then now you
Yeah.
listen to like kind of like indie folk pop rock type stuff, and it kind of sounds like that.
Yeah. Right.
It's got those doubly vocal things,
Uh-huh.
tiny little guitars, but they're all stacked
Yeah.
with like the super dry drums, really
Yeah.
straight.
Man, I love it.
Yeah, me too.
I love that. I really do. I love the straight drums and then let everything else groove. It's the
Yeah.
opposite of what you think, right? You think
Yeah.
like the drums are making this deep groove and that but it's the opposite.
No, but they also might have, they got a lot of percussion going on.
They got percussion and it's a hard thing to describe, and it's, man, finding a good drummer's tough, but because you want them to play simple, but there's this thing,
That little stank on there,
and I don't know I don't know how you
it's
teach that. You know what I mean?
Bit. Have you seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Well, Paul Rudd, he's talking to, they're going surfing or whatever, and he's like, well, I've never been surfing before, and he's like, I'll give you a lesson, and he's like, all right, pop up, and then he pops up, he's like, well, pop down, and he's like, well, you got to do less, you're doing too much. And he's like, okay, he's like, pop up, and he's like, no, do less, you're doing too much, and then he's like, pop up, and then he just lays there, and he's like, well, now you're just laying there, you got to do something. That's exactly what it's like being a drummer,
right. Yeah,
where you're like, well, hey, no, you don't got to do all that.
Yeah,
And
I just
then-
want you to play straight.
Yeah,
But
then
if
they play straight.
It's
You're
like,
well, come on, give me a little something here. You can't just play straight. You're acting like I said play straight.
Right. That's exactly right. But you want them to just go boom chick,
Yeah.
but oh man, I mean, it's hard. People feel that or they don't.
Yeah,
you
I've
know?
got, so the utility guy that plays with me is Haystack Foster.
Yeah.
And he's real good with acoustic stuff. And then my drummer, and he's my engineer and produces everything with me, is Wyatt Lankford.
Yeah, I know Wyatt.
So, and they had played with you some,
Mhm.
and like you're the number one guy that they always reference.
Yeah.
In terms of like, especially playing acoustic and just like, because Wyatt's always like, dude, I just sit there, I watch your freaking left foot, your left heel, and I just watch your right arm. Because the singer songwriter type, we definitely sway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and as I have a tough time recording, I don't have a tough time recording to click at all or anything like that. But I have a tough time in the sense of getting the feel out of the song that I really want. Like stuff we're tracking now, like I've started doing tempo mapping where the tempo will change in the chorus,
Mm-hmm.
and like really taking time to figure out like, I really want to slow down on this chorus because it just lets it, lets it breathe.
Yeah.
And sure, you might be able to have a drummer that like playing to click might be able to just sag back on the beat and the whole band's able to do that. But that's pretty tough to do with a true gridded out click.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I also don't necessarily like to record not to, a tempo, because then it just makes it weird for any sort of punch in and editing and stuff like that.
I bailed on that one pretty quick. I haven't used a click since my first record. I just
Really?
can't do it.
Yeah, well, so it's because of that reason exactly.
Yeah, I like for it to move.
I think it has to.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. It just feels too stiff to me. I have to. I mean, I've gone so far. One of the things I was going to say earlier, like what part of what I've learned, you'd think it's the opposite, right? You'd think when you learn, you're very simple when you start, and then you learn how to get more complex. That's what you think's going to happen. But for me, it was the opposite. I've learned to be more simple. Like I had to learn to just kind of just let things go and just simplify, simplify, simplify. Every time, just pulling more and more away and getting kind of down to the essence of what it is. And so I've gradually, over the course of making my records, I've tried to do that. And especially as I've gotten more confident, first you don't know what you're doing. And so you hire these producers and you kind of let them do their thing. And then eventually you start going, I don't really want that. Like I remember the time, it was probably 4 or 5 records in, where I just went, I don't like cymbals. I hate cymbals. And I just went, I don't want them playing cymbals.
Wow, I feel you
and
on
it
that.
just changed the entire, it changed everything.
Yeah.
And the drummer that we had on that record, John Gardner, man, he's a monster. And we were mid record when I made this decision, when I said this, and the producer at the time he goes, man, we can't, I mean, he's gonna have to go back and retrack everything. Or the whole band. He goes, you can't punch a drummer.
Yeah.
Like, he goes, you're gonna have to go back. We were like 3 songs in. He goes, we're gonna have to go back and just redo all 3 songs. And he goes, no, I know what you're talking about. And he went back and he played, and this was not to a click. He went back and played without playing cymbals. He just retracked his drum parts live. It was unbelievable.
So did you use maybe like an electric guitar or something, like playing diamonds to like emulate that feeling of, because they're normally like hitting a diamond. It's like, that's like what that crash is.
Yeah.
Or like I guess you'd be adding like a shaker or maybe a tambo for like when they go to the ride or something.
Yeah,
like that.
it'd be more of that, or like opening the hat. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm good with
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah.
I don't mind the sizzle. I just don't want the
Yes.
where that high frequencies just like won't stop.
Well, then it sits
in
in
your
all
ears.
the overtones of your voice.
Yeah.
Like all the high frequencies of your voice.
Yeah.
Takes all those out.
Yeah. I can't. It drives me nuts. Even listening, like once I figured that out, now if there's a song that has too many cymbals, I can't even listen to it. I have to turn it off.
Well, shoot, any of that freaking rock stuff.
Yeah, I
or
can't.
grunge. I mean, you shoot.
Yeah,
that's
I've realized I'm definitely a low end guy.
Okay.
I definitely like things on the lower end. But yeah, there's tricks: opening the hat, hitting the tambourine. There's things like, I don't mind some of that top end, but I just can't do a ride cymbal, and I just can't.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a crash in any JJ Cale song.
Nah, I don't even know if there's not. I would bet you there's not a cymbal in a JJ Cale song. I don't know.
That might be a good bar bet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like if there's a ride,
maybe. I don't know.
That might be a good bet, because I would probably take it that there is a ride, but I bet there's not.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that I've never been listening to a JJ Cale song and went, no. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just so tasty.
Yeah. But, so in my recording time, there's just like that. There's those little things that you learn, and you kind of figure out that you like and you don't like. So over time you start interjecting more, and starting about 3 records ago, we just went full live tracking with the band. No, very little punches. And then this last record, this Mississippi one, we went so far that it was completely live, and even the harmony vocals were going on live. Like the harmonies were going down.
Bold
the girls were
move.
in a room. It was Kelly McWee and Courtney Patton. They were in a room by themselves.
Holy
and if
cow.
you solo their track, if you go
can
get
hear
the
bleed?
stems, you can hear them talking about what the harmony part is before it happens.
Beautiful.
Like because they're in their own room.
Okay.
So you can hear them going, okay, when it gets to this, you take this, and they're working that out like during the first verse, and then it gets to the chorus, and they're doing the harmony.
How cool is that?
And so and we didn't do a punch. So when you hear that record, like we might have done 3 takes, but what you hear on the album is a take from start to finish. Wow. That's what everybody played. And we just, and I think I'm sold on that forever now.
But you got to be super well rehearsed.
No, they'd never even heard the songs.
How?
We didn't. So Gordy Quist produced that record, and well, for one, it's a groove record with like 2 to 3 chords per song. You know what I mean? We're not talking. It's not making a jazz record.
So it is pretty loopy.
Yeah, actually, it's a good way to say it. Yeah, it is. It's very. it's all groove oriented. So I mean,
Yeah.
some of those, I'd say 3 or 4 of the songs on the record are just one chord. So, it's just a matter of finding that feel and then just
Yeah.
doing it,
Yeah.
And all you really got to talk about is how do you get in, how do you get out, where's the
Yeah.
solo? That's it, and then just let everybody kind of go to town.
Did you have those songs already worked out lyrically
Mm-hmm.
and melodically when you went in?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. So Gordy and I we worked together a lot to
Okay.
kind of get that honed in.
Gordy is
Gordy Quist he produced the record. Gordy's one of the singers for the band of Heathens. And he's got a studio down in Austin, and we did a lot of pre-production and we worked through that stuff a lot, but he didn't want the band to hear it because he wanted it to feel fresh and live. And, he didn't want everybody overthinking their parts and coming up with stuff. But again, that works on a record like that. That doesn't work on a, even like if you're trying to do a country record with pushes and stuff, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, you have
it
to
works
work 'em
because
out.
of the nature of what that
Sure.
album was. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit jammier. Yeah, it's about finding that pocket more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's a really interesting approach. I'm a little surprised that you got it all worked out beforehand on something like that. Because if
Mhm.
you're talking about like your voice grooving, it seems like in my shoes, I would get in there and start singing with the drummer and feeling that bass player, and I would start wanting to maybe push different areas and start singing a little.
Oh yeah, I
different.
did do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking more like working out some meters stuff.
Oh,
and,
okay.
like maybe if you change this to a 2-syllable from a 3-syllable
Okay.
word.
Okay. Yeah.
It'll shorten this phrase and it'll fit in the pocket better. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there was plenty of room for singing it different once the band got in for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I haven't listened to that record. That's out, correct?
Mm-hmm. It came out. It's a year and a half ago now. It came out
Okay.
in August of 23.
Yeah, it's what a weird time too, is just like putting out records, whatever that even means.
I know. It was a weird time. I put out,
Well, even now it's still like that. It's like, what?
yeah.
Like I'm gonna pay a distributor how much to what? Put it
man,
on.
don't get me
put it on
started on that.
Spotify.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I just have who knows.
I don't.
It's unbelievable. What I don't love right now is there's still those old school people that are willing to charge you a lot of money and nobody really knows what they're doing.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
well that makes me feel better.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think nobody knows what the hell's going on right now. They still don't. I mean, that nobody's cracked the code. It seems like there was a time when you could kind of, when there was you could get some insider that came in and they go, okay, this is how you break in. This is how you break a record. You do this. But I think everybody's just scrambling right now. We're all still just throwing darts at the wall, right now to see what sticks.
It feels like the way MTV made an impact on the music industry, like in the 90s, I guess, the 80s, 90s. It's like the only way to get a song to break was you had to have a video that did really well on MTV.
Yeah.
Like in the mass sense.
Right.
Now that is just TikTok, Instagram. Like unless you can connect through video,
yeah,
the song can be great. The music can be great. But there's even two sides to that. Like I had Summer Dean on here and we were talking about that. It's like I'll see people that have incredible streaming numbers and like they don't have like any social media presence hardly. Like, or that's not how the music got popular.
Mm-hmm.
It was like people just found it organically on those sites and then loved it. On the flip side, there's some people that the only reason their music is popular is because they have a massive social media following.
Yeah. And it's so segmented now too, right? Because I know people that have incredible social media numbers and they can't get 50 people to show up to their shows.
I know, yeah.
And vice versa. I know people that are selling a lot of tickets that don't really have great numbers. I mean, it's just so weird. It's such a weird time.
Yeah, I just can't even really. I've even tried to find. Like on social media and doing videos and stuff, I spend a lot of time doing that, but I've just started to like, if I don't, I mean, I try to find some joy in that as well. Like if I feel like I'm getting my point across, like visually in what I'm doing, I guess I'm just always trying to find ways to detach myself from the result.
Yeah.
Like, and just find the love of the game.
Sure. That's the whole trick.
I think, it feels like it's a daily battle.
I know it is, but I mean, I do think that is it, I think I don't know. I think somebody like Chris Stapleton, you got to think he wasn't following a trend. You know what I mean? Like
No.
he was singing like Chris Stapleton, and it paid off. And he's one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you actually just do it for the love. If it does hit, it hits. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, you gotta be careful what you wish for, though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think doing it for the love, and of course you got to manage your career. There's a little bit of staying in the know, knowing what's going on, playing the game a little bit to stay relevant. But yeah, I think you have to come at it from the love of doing it. Without that,
Yeah.
you're just a robot.
Do you think you try, because you've written for a lot of people?
Not for them. I mean, I've written songs that people have covered.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Was that something you actively pursued?
I never have.
Just happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of that is, and that may change coming up, because it's like going to Nashville and writing has never been something that's even in my worldview, because it was the pop country thing. Since I've been doing this as a career, that's been happening. The bro country, the pop country,
bad,
and I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. I couldn't do it if I tried. Like, I don't think I could. I really.
You don't think so?
Well, because one, I don't like it. So I don't think I could do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, I just don't think, I don't understand it. I don't know it. Because I don't listen to it. So I don't, I just don't understand it. So that's the main reason I've never done that. But now with this kind of country resurgence thing happening, I'm like, okay, I know how to do this. Like, I can do this one, so I may try to get into that game now if there's, because I don't really do that. You know what I mean? I don't make like hardcore honky tonk records, but I love writing that stuff. I love it. And
it's not easy to write.
It's really hard.
It's easy to write it like bad.
Yeah.
Like you just start a shuffle in A, and
Yeah.
then it's like,
Yeah. Well, that's what happens is any kind of music that's simple like that, groove music, country music, anything that's simple like that, you get so much bad stuff because everybody's like, oh, that's easy.
Yep.
But to do it right is, man, try to write it. I learned that when I was writing that AM Country Heaven record, because I had to simplify to get it into like country music, and that was way harder. Before that, I had been doing a little more kind of folky stuff, and I was trying to get real fancy with imagery and a lot of fancy words, and like trying to mask what I was, you got to dig in to get what this meaning is, and then I wrote that country record. It's like, oh man, you can't do that. You got to say it.
Give it to them. Yeah.
You got 6 words here. You got to say
but you
this
have
thing.
to find those really clever moments to probably create some band moments.
Yeah.
From like an arrangement standpoint. And then I don't know, everybody talks about doing this like 90s country thing. But like the records, to me, they don't really sound like 90s country.
You mean the stuff now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, or especially 80s. Like no one's doing the 80s.
Right.
Like no one's throwing on like the verbed out Strat.
Yeah, right.
If you go listen to it, like Miami, like I know that song got popular recently. Like if you really go listen to that song, like that is quintessential 80s.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's got the chimey little freaking, I don't know, these little Rhodes, or I don't know what it is.
Snare drums are so
holy
verby,
cow, there's so much verb on it.
And they just plug those electric guitars straight into the board.
Underwater. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That stuff's cheesy. I mean, I'm glad that's not coming back.
Really?
Yeah, that was bad. Like, I mean, the songs were amazing. The songs were amazing.
I bet there's something about those recordings that I actually love.
Yeah, maybe from a nostalgia.
You think so?
Yeah, but I think like if you could get Keith Whitley to record Miami without doing that, I bet it would blow your mind. You know what I mean? I bet you'd just go, okay, that was good, but this is awesome. It's like I listen to those old Ray Charles records, and it's got all those harmony singers in the background, those girls, and they're singing real high, and it ruins those records but that was the production technique at the time. And I'm like, man, I just wish I could go back and hear him without that. If it was just if the production method of the time were not the thing.
I agree with that to a point, but even even like a Dwight Yoakam type record though, like those were super wet, but those were way more like dance hall.
Yeah,
like it sounded like live in a dance hall kind of thing.
yeah, he was on to some. Did Pete Anderson produce those? I don't know if he produced them
I don't
or
know.
not, but yeah, they were doing something a little different.
Well, for sure.
Yeah,
But I could see. I guess my point is like I could see maybe doing. My point is really like a lot of the records now, like they just have they're mixed like rock records, and they are like this is '90s country, and I'm like, oh, that's sounds like you mix Nickelback too.
yeah,
It's just like the exact same kick, it's the exact same
oh
snare.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, can we do this? Like, I don't know, maybe a little rootsier sounding
Sure.
is what I would enjoy to hear.
Yeah, I would like to hear that too. I think,
I think Zach Top with a little like he's incredible. I don't like particularly love. They sound great, like the records sound great, but like they sound a little sterile to me.
yeah,
It's like that style of recording and mixing and stuff. I just don't love it.
I don't know. I think it's this new thing that's coming around is in its infancy.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I think it's just starting. So I think they're still trying to get their feet under them as far as what they're doing. Nobody's done this in 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, that this kind of music, and I think it's really cool to hear. But right now there is a lot of, even though what you said is true on the production side, there is also a lot of just let's make songs just like let's write songs just like they did in the 90s. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think eventually that will morph into more of a modern version of that.
Yeah, see, I'm torn because I'm with you. I don't want it to sound exactly the same.
Right.
I don't, but I'm like everybody. I'm full of shit. I don't know what I really do want.
Yeah, I don't either.
You know?
I don't either. I know it when I hear it.
I like to pontificate about it and act like I know.
I do too. But I mean, but I'll take this stuff.
Dude, if we're talking like 2015 compared to now, country music, oh, dude.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
We're not listening to, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but Jake Worthington let me hear some stuff on a project he's working on. Man, it's next level. Like
Really?
it's gonna blow some minds. I mean, it's country gold. I mean, it is like
Wow.
I mean, it would hold up in the height of when country was country. You know what I think of, like it would be a #1 record then. Like it's these guys are about to do some really cool stuff. I think I'm really excited to see where this goes. I love that it's coming back. I really do. I think it's I've been waiting 30 years for this, you know. So I'm excited about it.
So are you writing a lot of that?
No, but I'm about to be. I'm about to.
Okay.
So I didn't really. I mean, I knew there was some people doing it. I mean, I've known those guys forever. Not Zach, but a lot of the other guys. I've known them forever and known that that's what they're doing. I didn't see how much it's become part of a thing until this last month, being down at the festivals, especially the festival at Steamboat.
Yeah.
And those guys, I got to go see them, like what they're actually doing now and how the fans are reacting, and like it just hit me in the face, you know, that this is. Okay, this is what's coming.
It's
like
popular.
This is actually about to go.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And not that I want to jump on a bandwagon, but it's just a train I know how to ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can do it. So I don't know. I love writing that stuff. So maybe I'll do it, or maybe I'll just write the songs and I'll make a record one day.
Hey,
But I can't sing like those guys. You know, I mean that's some next level stuff. I mean, I think I can sing country music, but when I hear those guys sing, I'm like, okay, I I'm not a singer like they are.
Oh
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
I feel you on that. Yeah, that's just not my style. They're incredible, and they've been doing it. That's why it's funny now that like Nashville kind of caught on to it, and the rest of the country kind of caught on to it, and like down here in Texas, we're like, wait,
Yeah.
this is like what everybody's been doing for a while now.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the guys you named off, like they've been down here grinding it
Forever.
out. Yeah.
Man, I mean, for a long time. I mean,
Oh yeah. Like
years and
Jake
years.
has grinded.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's worked hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those guys have. I mean, you've watched them. It's that thing we talked about coming up in the clubs, like all those guys did. I don't know much about Zach Top's story, but I know the guys that I know personally. I mean, I know they've been playing bar circuits for years and years.
Yeah.
You know, doing it, like really doing the same thing that they're doing now, which I always love that. I love when you know somebody and you know they've been doing this thing forever, way back before it was popular. And then, like we said earlier, now it it's just the time has come to them instead of the other way around. I really love to see
Which
that
is a
happen.
testament to not chasing trends,
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
all cyclical.
it
Like
is.
really, not stuff's not necessarily new. It's just whether or not it's fresh,
Yeah,
in my opinion, to a
right.
degree.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
is this fresh? It's not new, but we just haven't heard it in a while. And
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time something new came out? I mean, like something you go, I've never heard anything like that. Like I think again, going back to the Nirvana thing, that's why it took over the world. I mean,
yeah,
that was new. I'm sure maybe people that listen to a lot of punk probably found some way that it was derivative, but I mean, to
yeah,
to the world, you know what
yeah,
I mean?
to the masses for
To the
sure.
masses, like that just kind of came out of nowhere, and it just it like killed hair metal in a week.
Oh
You heard
gosh,
those stories?
almost
Where,
immediately.
yeah, they like had it sold out arena tours, and then 2 weeks later, like there's 500 people in their arena. I'm sure I was exaggerating, but like it was drastic. It was pretty instant, and I can't think of the last time that that's the last one I can think of where there was actually a new sound. Like hip hop coming out was a new sound. I
Yeah,
mean, that came out. That was there. There was not hip hop, and then there was. And then there. I think the grunge thing did that, but yeah, I can't think of anything that's new, and that's been
no,
new in a long time.
I don't know. I mean, I'm about to put out a new record that it definitely has a grunge thing, but it's all super rootsy recording styles. Uh,
Yeah,
but it's got some punk elements and some just kind of like alternative 90s rock type stuff. Uh, but it's all kind of like through like a cowboy aesthetic,
yeah,
rodeo rock kind of thing.
yeah,
So it'd be like the ethos of Chris Ledoux. It doesn't sound like Chris Ledoux, but
yeah.
in the sense of what he
That's
did
cool.
at that time,
Yeah, yeah,
where it's like, dude, we're gonna play some freaking. He was playing like hairband arena rock type stuff in like a country way, I guess, kind
yeah,
of rodeo
yeah,
rock is the energy of it, but all with like a cowboy aesthetic and stuff.
yeah.
And
That's cool.
so that's
And so to me, that's equally as creative. Even if you're not creating a genre, if you're putting things together in a
sure.
way, that's mostly what creativity is like. It's kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, but same thing that it, there's a phrase like if you steal from two people, you're stealing. If you steal from 10 people, you're creating. You
Ah,
know?
yeah, or like those ones about being a great thief, like that's
Yeah.
just that means you're creative. It's just
Right.
learning how to steal or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's doing it. I mean, you put your own original spin on it, but like I think John Prine was a very original voice, but he wasn't doing anything that like actually, if you dissect it and dig into the bones of it, he was playing folk music,
yeah,
but it's extremely original because it's him being himself, and nobody had heard somebody sing like that or put things together in that way. But the music that he was making wasn't necessarily.
Dean Dillon was that way. Like if you zoom out of the genre that you're in, like Dean Dillon talked about how when he saw James Taylor play for the first time, he was just blown away. And he
Yeah,
was looking at a lot of the chords he was using and like melodically where he was going with certain things. And he was like, oh my gosh. He's like, we don't do that in country.
yeah,
So then it's like,
he did.
well, so how do you get freaking Miami, Miami? It's like that kind of, it's like a James Taylor-ish thing,
Yeah, you're
right?
right. Yeah, you're right.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so a lot Marina Del Rey, like
Hmm.
that type of, and those sweeping melodies. And,
Yeah.
a
Have
lot
you
of
ever
those.
seen a Dean Dillon show?
I've never gotten to see him. No, I have not.
So when you see him do those songs, it really comes out.
Yeah.
You hear some of those songs. I can't think of an example. There's some of them he's doing, and you're like, I can't believe that's the same song. I mean, they
Oh,
they
right.
changed it so much in the studio and then you hear the way he wrote it, and it really has that kind of folk, almost kind of jazz thing to it.
Yeah.
And then they turned it into a George Strait song in the
Totally.
studio.
But and he's using, so that goes back to what you're saying about like learning how to be, if you can just take from certain areas, but yet it's so quintessentially those are not James Taylor songs at
Right?
all.
Yeah.
Like, especially lyrically and stuff. It's just that to me was really unique.
Yeah.
The way he was doing it.
Sure.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
know of anybody else that was Well, and it goes to show you there wasn't, until he had a lot of success with George Strait, there wasn't a ton of people beating down his door to record his songs.
Yeah, I know he was doing a lot of that. Keith Whitley, like Keith Whitley was kind of his guy,
Yeah.
right up until George Strait came along.
Yeah,
you know,
got all the
but because Keith Whitley, there's versions of Keith doing a lot of songs that went on to be George Strait songs. You know,
I haven't gone down that
rabbit hole. Had them
hole
first. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of the examples now, but if you go listen to some early Keith Whitley records, there's some cuts that went on to be George Strait hits.
Whoa.
So he was kind of getting those songs, you know, out of the gate, and then George Strait came along.
Okay. I'll need to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So are you playing a bunch this spring?
Yeah.
Or summer, spring, summer?
Spring. I mean, summer maybe, but spring for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm recording in May. So I'm kind of writing right now and on the road. I started doing this thing last year that I'm a really big fan of. I just take February and I just do like house shows, private house shows. And part of it is it's so hard to tour in February. The weather is unpredictable. You just don't, you know, people are worn out from Christmas. Like it's just February is a hard time to tour. And I did it last year. Just, I don't know. I had used to do it years ago. And last year I did it again. And man, I loved it. Like it was to kind of remember why you do it. You know what I mean? Like to sit in somebody's living room or around a campfire and play songs to 20 people. And
are you bringing like a PA and stuff? Oh, you are flat out
unplugged, like sitting on a couch or sitting.
You are flat out. You are hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out.
That's a bold
it's so
move,
cool.
dude.
I know. I love it. I was worried about. I thought last year I was like, I'll see how this goes, and this year I'm doing it again. Like I loved it so much that that was a good one.
Booger was digging her butt and rolled her over like a little roly-poly, fat little corgi.
But yeah, it really kind of reset me. Like it's a great way to start the year because it just kind of reminds you what the hell this is, you know, what we're doing here.
How many of those do you do?
This year I'm doing about 6 weeks. So, you know, probably, I don't know, 15 shows, something like that.
Yeah.
And then starting in March, I start a solo acoustic tour, pretty much hitting the whole country except for the East Coast. I'm going out west and then Midwest and all that stuff. So I'm doing that and then recording in May. So I write a lot when I'm driving. Like that's like my big writing time these days. So I'm just planning on writing this record in the next 3 months.
Love it.
One thing I've done my last 2 or 3 records. So what I used to do is I would just write all the time. And then when I got time to make a record, I'd grab 10 songs that I had and that would be the album. Now I'm trying to make more intentional records. You know, I'm making this kind of album. So I write for that album. And what I've figured out works for me is I'm just a deadline person. And so I'll book the studio. I'll commit myself 100%. I'll book the studio. The producer will book the players, and I don't have any songs, you know. And I'm like, I got to get this done, and that works really well for me. It really does. So I'm excited. So the next 3 months I'll be driving around writing songs in my car. So I get the song started doing that mumbly thing that we were talking about, and kind of singing into my voice memos on my phone. And then when I get to the hotel room that night, I'll kind of go through all the stuff I've done, all the gibberish that I've done during the day and make sense of it.
So you'll start driving and just sit in silence and just kind of let it come to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I'll just start humming or just let it come to me. Yeah. Yeah. But there's a thing, like if I'm, you know, like last time was, like I said, it was more of a groove thing. So I would kind of, you know, maybe, you know, just kind of do this little thing and, you know, or tapping on the steering wheel and singing to like what I want it to feel like, you know, but yeah. I have a very specific thing I'm doing this time. I'm not going to talk about it, but I want to real bad, but I'm going to hold off, but I'll tell you after this is over, but I just don't want to say anything just yet, but I'm super excited about this record I'm about to make. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time.
So, but you wouldn't know when it's going to come out.
No, we're going to record it in May. I would say either like
at least 6 months after that.
Yeah, I would say at the earliest September, and if it's not September, it'll probably be like January,
Yeah.
February next year. Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
Well, that's exciting.
But yeah, I'm excited about it.
All right. Well, I mean, it's been freaking really cool to talk to you, man.
Yeah, man. You
I
too.
like
This
getting
is
your
fun.
perspective and like being able to like get a little bit of insight. I've been a lone wolf for a long time. So it's encouraging to hear some things that like, it's like, okay, I'm not like totally insane for thinking this or
Yeah.
doing this.
Right.
You can start to feel a little bit like, okay, what am I doing?
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah. I don't know if that ever stops.
Oh, perfect. That's great. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're always, no matter what, you're always kind of like, do I still know what I'm doing? You know, just like it can go away at any minute.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a never ending battle.
Well, for real, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
That's where we'll call it. We're gonna let Booger. Booger, you want to take us out? She didn't speak English. See y'all. Thanks for hanging.
All right.
Sing